the percentage for you to say, oh, these are the class of people in Nigeria. And we are saying that this loan is actually meant for that particular class of people. So when you bring out this kind of criteria, you have ruled out a larger percentage of people that actually need this education, need to have the right to education, at the same time should have access and affordable education. And that is where this fault is coming from. So I feel that it is an appeal, and it should be an appeal to the president and the committee to have a rethink over this criteria so that it can be accessible to those that actually need it. This initiative that we've talked about, I've also often said it that when government comes out with any policy or any initiative, it should be for the good of all, not just for a minority. And when I say good of all, we are talking about majority here. And we are saying for that man that is always on the river fishing, for that woman that is in the marketplace selling a little commodities, we are saying we want to make her life better. The education she didn't have, she can, get it, for our children through some of these initiatives. So then you can now talk about the fact that you are looking at the majority of those in that particular class, and you are making education accessible and affordable to them. If I go on, we are now saying part of the criteria also involves that somebody from the legal background should have practiced for 12 years. For God's sake, I'm a little bit confused. Are we saying that until you have someone that has practiced for 12 years, before you can actually say you validate this person as a legal person in that profession? I think that rubs off on the lack of confidence we have on our judiciary system and our legal system, which I feel is absolutely wrong. So this is another part of the criteria that I fought. I think I saw in one of the reports, I'm still trying to see if truly that is also part of it, where they said, oh, if you have to repay this loan, it will be 2 years after, probably, within the duration of your NYSC, what is it called now? When you go for your NYSC, 2 years, probably 1 year for NYSC, the remaining 1 year you have worked. In this economy that we are talking about, yes, we know that government pays NYSC, during the duration of their service year. 1 year after, is it always very easy to get a job within that 1 year? I know people who stay at home when the job is not coming, they decide to become self-employed. And I saw where it also stated that, even if you are self-employed, there is a 10% percentage on the income that comes in from that business, 10% on the salary you get from that job. Well, of course, it's saying after 2 years you start paying the loan. I don't see this as flexible enough. Okay, that's one. Then the benchmark of that 500, the earnings should be like 500,000 before you can have access. It should not be more than that. Those that are probably guaranteeing you or your parents should not have borrowed the loan. Yes, if you borrow a loan, you have to pay back fine. But I'm saying, why the limits? Okay, there are people who have actually decided to be self-employed. They have different things they are doing simultaneously. They make income from those things. They gather, and at the end of the month, what if they have more than 500? But the fact of this initiative that we are looking at is for a long-term support for those that should have access to education. So even though we know parents have such avenues to gather money, there are other things they are also considering. It's not always easy. You want to train a child from university level from probably 100 to when the child finishes. There are lots of expenses in between those years. And so we are looking at how it can be consistent. We are looking at how, there won't be any stoppage for this student, from getting access to education and then finishing it. So we are supporting the parents with whatever it is that they are gathering together. The government is saying, we want to support you, want to back you up so that your children can have education. And then your story can turn around. Because what it means is that if they were educated, I'm sure a lot of them would have done more things than what they are doing, to make ends meet at the family level. But because they don't have probably that kind of privilege of having that exhaustible education, we are saying let's help the future generations of this country. So I think that in this initiative, we are talking about supporting parents, not depriving parents, not putting benchmarks that would deprive their children from having access to education. So I feel that there's a lot of work in as much as it is a good initiative. I think the president and the committee members should take a look, step back and look at what these criteria, should be so that we can incorporate as many students, as many children in this initiative. It is a wonderful initiative, but a lot still needs to be done concerning it. You want to make it affordable, you want to support parents, you want to give access to education to as many children so that they can have a brighter future. I think the bottlenecks concerning this criteria is actually outrageous.
All right. Thank you very much, Adeton. I would also like to take this conversation a lot more further. When we look at the function of education, we see it as a means for helping in maintaining social mobility in society, meaning that we're able to move the children at the grassroots level or the parents at the grassroots level from possibly the low class to the middle class and then the higher class. Now, but when we look at this student loan and in comparison with the first world countries, we see that even till now, because when we have such bills of this nature, we get to look at which countries have practiced it.
Yes.
What's the success rate of the practice so far? And we see that there are still students who sometimes have to rely on government to offset these loans right after they're done with their education. Now, if for the Nigerian parents and the way the economy is, a student has to obtain loan after school, has to wait uncertain of jobs which the government are supposed to provide, and then having to pay back. Do you think that really this loan, which was supposed to help with access to education, will help the student from the low class really move from the low class to possibly the upper class? Or do you think that this is just going to break that movement and that chain, and it's just going to be static, and it's more like a ploy to continue to keep these students from being more empowered to remaining at the same level?
Okay, in one of the reports, let me try and quote what the special advisor on media, Ismaila Issa, said. There's a part where he mentioned that yes, this is an enabler for more Nigerians to ascend the socio-economic ladder, irrespective of their social and economic background. And to answer your question, the aim is to do what? To actually allow for those that you've mentioned to ascend, irrespective of their social or economic background. If this cannot achieve that purpose, it comes back to the question you asked. That means we are breaking that bridge already. We are actually shattering that bridge. We are not allowing those at the lower level to climb up, of course, because of their economic background and whatsoever. That means we are not even working towards the aim of this initiative in the first place. And it's just like something that has been crashed already before it even started. So that's one aspect. Then we talk about other countries. I'm sure you are aware that some students from Nigeria, they actually apply for scholarship in other countries, of course, in different institutions, and they get it. And they get there before you know it, the education they are looking for, they can actually have access to it. And after that, they continue. Now, even in as much as there's continuity in that, and at the end of the day, you are expected to have integrity to pay back this loan. Of course, given certain periods of time. But the one here in Nigeria doesn't even extend to that. It doesn't extend to that. So what it also means that the little duration that you are helping or supporting parents or giving access to education should be done properly. We want to expect that even within the short time, from beginning of the education to when they end, of course, they start paying after they are through with school. The little duration that you have to support, to give them that access to education, should actually be done 100%. You should ensure that this is what you are giving. It is a lifetime thing, and you should give in your 100% in supporting. And that's why I mentioned that in other countries, there's continuity, and it's working. We see the result. Can't we just do with that little duration that we are giving that support? Can't we just make it 100% perfect? If not even perfect, at least let's give in our best. Let's know that this administration, will be reckoned to as, this administration actually made way for a lot of students to have access to education. I don't even want to go back to the era of free education and all that, where we had those who were able to pilot that, and they were able, and some of governors, the leaders that we have today, benefited from that free education scheme. Of course, by our former leaders and past leaders. But we can do better. So if this initiative is coming to provide more solutions to do things better, I think we can give it 100%.
All right. Thank you very much, Adito, for your thoughts on that one. This is 6 minutes past 8 from Women Radio 91.7, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. Glad to know that you're still there, tuned in to this dial. If you are just joining us, you're listening to the newspaper review, where we get to take a look at the stories and reports making rounds across the Nigerian dailies for the day. And yes, we get to analyze and discuss them together. You can call us on 07000 917 917. Send us a text and WhatsApp message on 0703 175 6537. Log into our website www.wfm917.com. Download your mobile app, WFM917. Sending your thoughts to our social media platforms, WFM917. My name is Blessing Agbeta.
And I am Miracle Philip.
And yes, our analyst for today is Adetun Adebogo. Let's move away from that conversation to this other one you will find on Daily Trust newspapers today. So this one says, Kano governor inaugurates panels to probe Ganduje, Dogua, and others. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has inaugurated 2 judicial commissions of inquiry into cases of misappropriation of public property, political violence, and missing persons between 2015 and 2023, when his predecessor, Abdullahi Ganduje, governed the state. While inaugurating the panels on Thursday, Yusuf charged its members to work towards bringing anyone found wanting to book. The governor said investigating the misappropriation of the public asset was part of his inaugural pledge to unravel and prosecute those behind cases of political violence recorded in the state. Adeto, I'm pretty interested in this one. Abba Yusuf belongs to the AMPP political party, and of course, Ganduje belongs to APC. Now, my question is, do you think Abba Yusuf would have done the same thing if they were in the same political party? And secondly, do you think the witch hunt is necessary? As long as he wants to, bring justice into manifestation, as much as he wants to do the overhauling of the previous administration and all of that, do you think the witch hunting is necessary? Because he has dragged about 3 people are going to be involved, are going to be probed in this one. So, do you think the witch hunt is necessary? And of course, if they were in the same political party, do you think Abba Yusuf would have done the same thing?
Let me start with the last one. Of course, if they were in the same political party, I'm sure we'll have less noise concerning this. That is the politics in Nigeria. And that's how the politics works, because you find a lot of this here and there. Let me trace your mind back to when we had the issues surrounding former governors of Kwara State, where we had, of course, the recent governor of the state, Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak, of course, who was inaugurated in 2019. And, he decided to set up a committee to look into the unlawful sales of government-owned properties, of course, by former governors, Rasaki and Ahmed Abdul Fattah. And, at the end of the day, I remember, making a comment on that particular story, and I mentioned that it's a case of crossing our fingers and think what will be done, and let's see how far this goes. Because then it was also said as a witch hunting. It was said as, probably has issues with these 2 predecessors. Probably that's why he's actually after them and all that. In as much as it's, the sales, the unlawful sales of the government-owned properties condemned. Most of the times, these cases don't go that far. The noise comes out. By the end of the day, what happens? It is being suppressed for so many reasons. As I mentioned, that is the way the polity has always been. And I remember there's a report that came out, and got to have a 17 years review of financial crimes linked to former governors, ministers, advisors, senators, and others. And by that report, it mentioned that between 2007 and 2023, a sum of 356.18 billion, were actually embezzled by this certain 12 former governors, 12 ministers, advisors, and senators, and 69 others. And that shows you that we are not dead yet when it comes to fighting corruption in Nigeria. In 2021
absolutely.
also, we had cases of 8 governors who embezzled over 500 billion naira. Former Imo State Governor Korocha, we have Goje, we have Oji, we have Wamako, we have Timmy Prey, we have Chime Sullivan, we have Ali Sherif, we have Gus Will, Akpabio, we have Benga Daniel of the state. And if you look at all these cases, of course, between 2022 and 2023, of course, we had like 20 to, let's say, 35 crimes of cases, dealing with financial crimes, not talk about properties or assets of the government. And among these cases, we have 69 cases by EFCC, 23 cases by ICPC, and then others. Largely, what this means to us is that amongst all these cases, we had 13 of them that were dismissed. 10 accused were sentenced, 15 convicted but later discharged. What does this point to us? It means that most of the time when we have these money laundering issues or financial crimes issues, of course, which is rated 76% overall, especially money laundering, which takes the highest. At the end of the day, these cases are swept under the carpet and you don't hear anything about it. Largely caused by political influence that exonerates these leaders, of course, from investigation or prosecution. And so you ask yourself the question, where are we actually when it comes to fighting corruption in Nigeria? If we have not been able to achieve any result from all these ones that have been listed out, we have not seen the light at the bright of the light at the end of the tunnel concerning some of these cases. Always swept under the carpet, and that ends it. Especially when the person, the ex-governor in question, has some kind of, rapport with the party in another party, probably in the administration, is able to parley with them and all that, dine with them. Before you know it, we hear cases of, he has moved from his former party to the new party, and then what happens? Nobody's doing any witch hunting again. But when it becomes, this party versus this party, we call it witch hunting. If they're in the same party or he has migrated to the current party, it becomes, these things are forgiven. That is all. So there's a lot that involves fighting corruption. And it starts from our leaders as well. If we are not able to actually, point out or persecute and say, you have done wrong, you have embezzled so amount of money, this shouldn't be so. We're supposed to live by example, and we've not done that. Now, for a governor, probing others, former governors and others, you want to ask, is he actually going to scale through? We get actually being
justice be
progress in what we are taking. Are we going to, at the end of the story, what will actually come out of it? So it's really tough. It's going to be very challenging. As I mentioned, let's keep our fingers crossed and let's see how this goes. But there's a lot when it comes to corruption issues in Nigeria. We are not there yet. We are just scratching the surface. We have not even done 5-10% of eradicating corruption, especially within our government officials. We still have a lot to do. And day in, day out, embezzlement cases, financial crime cases, selling of government-owned properties, and even absconding with government properties is always there. So we really have a lot to do. I just hope that at the end of the day, as I mentioned with all the other previous cases, let's see what will happen. If we will be able to at least get some results out of this. If not, at the end of the day, we'll come back to the drawing board.
At the end of the day, we come back to the drawing board. Thank you very much for your thoughts on that one, Adito. 07000 917 917. That is the number to call to be a part of the conversation. Send us a text and WhatsApp message on 0703 175 6537. Log on to our website, www.wfm917.com. Download the mobile app, the BFM 917. Sending your thoughts to our social media platforms, the BFM 917. That is how you can be a part of the newspaper review for today. Okay, so let's check out some of the messages we have here. We have this one from Olushoga Jai from Udonla Ikorodu. Okay, so just before then, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Emmanuel, and I'm a first-time
Hi,
first-time
Emmanuel.
caller.
Good to have you on the show today. Where are you calling us from, Emmanuel?
I'm calling from Lagos, from the future,
All
future
right.
Lagos State.
All right. Good to have you on the show. Please go
Um,
ahead.
um, yeah. Good morning, Adeton. Good morning, everyone. I just want to I just want to speak on the governor of Kano State probe on Ganduje and the other people who have done one to the other to the state.
Mm.
I don't think we should call it maybe a witch hunt or something. I think
Okay.
this is what it's supposed to be. Yeah, because there are evidences of these people's infractions, the evidence of their corrupt acts and everything. I thought this sort of investigation should be encouraged, and until we started getting these things right, Nigeria will continue to, undulate. We will not make much progress. So I think instead of we say which hunt,
Okay.
I think we should encourage this governor and also encourage other governors to do same.
To follow suit.
For example, let's look at the case of Abia State. You see that this is a state that God so blessed with so much, things. And look at how that state has been, has been for the last 24 years until this recent governor came up. Why? Because of corruption.
Mm.
Corruption really stall the progress of that state.
Of course.
So I think governors should do more of this, and there will be progress in Nigeria. Not only governors, even presidents. They will be probed. They will be probed. They have really held this country and made this country not to make much progress. So that is just my little contribution this.
All right. So, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for your thoughts on the show today. 07917 That is the number to call to be a part of the conversation. 07917 Send us a text and a WhatsApp message and 0703 174 6537. Okay, so let's check out this one from Olusha Gajai from Odo Like already said. They removed fuel subsidy without setting up a committee. They increased electricity tariff without setting up a committee. But to increase minimum wage, they set up a committee that no one knows what they are doing. Nigerian politicians are the most wicked people on earth. All right. Thank you very much, Olusha Gajai, for your thoughts on the show today.
Yes, we have this message from Additional Wasir in Ikorodu, says, top of the morning to you in the studio on Nigeria's economy. The economic team of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are making some progress now because Naira is making some progress against the dollar, and it is reflecting on some goods like iron rods. The iron that we are selling for 1,300,000, I believe, is now selling for 1 million naira and 950,000 naira, respectively. And rice in Sabo Market in Ikorodu is 67,000.
Are you serious?
And 65,000, respectively. So Nigeria's economy is making some positive progress.
All right, let's hear from this person. Hello. Please, you have to turn down the volume on your radio. Hello, good morning.
It's done already. My name is Engineer Still. I'm calling from Greater Lagos.
What's your name again, please?
Iskill. Skill. Iskill.
Yes,
yeah.
Please go on.
Yes. See, I actually am particularly interested in the issue of student loan. When they came the other time with the condition of this loan, I said they actually didn't want to give the loan to anybody. Because if you meet the criteria by academic standards, you will not meet it by socioeconomic standards. And the question is, when they went back and said they want to review the criteria, they came with something more stringent than even what it was before. How many persons can that lawyer of 12 years stand surety for? How many persons can that civil servant stand for? And the person in that village, I applied with Adeto's opinion, how many people in the village can meet up the surety criteria, talk less of the academic criteria? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do you want to graduate people to indebtedness, or you want to graduate them into prosperity?
Hmm.
They really don't want to give this loan. That is my sincere opinion. Because it's like after democracy, ayé tí fúnlọ́kọ̀ ojú ọ̀pẹ ẹ̀rọ ni. Àbí ká pè é ní àfàìfúnilẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ẹ̀sìn tí kò dìde ara lọ́wọ́ ẹni. They are not interested in giving anybody any loan. If they really want something that will be all encompassing, let them go to the blueprint of Assembly and modify that thing. That was what made them. This one cannot make anybody. That's for me, my sister. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Iskel, for your thoughts on the show today. Let's check out this message from Barrister Ugo Suji from Festac. He says, Good morning, WFM, blessing, miracle, analyst, Adito Wadibugo. This Governor Subara Seminalai of Rivers State roams with the Rivers State House of Assemblymen, born out of God for darism of whosoever is not for the good health of the body polity of the Riverians. What exactly is required of Governor Fubara to do to pander over the federal appetite of his predecessor in office as regards emptying River State budget money for his pocket? The President Tinubu mediated over the issues of River State and preferred political solutions is not in itself a constitutional requirement per se. Representation of the River State budget be a House of Assembly that without rift in the PDP as a political party decamped to APC is largely illegal, as the first presentation was in a tandem with Section 102, subsection 2 of the Constitution 1999. Let purported godfathers of River State go under and allow Governor Fubara to live up like a man and give reverence good governance as Emperor Iyesom Wike surely is doing in FCT as a minister. When evil prevails and impious men bear way, then the post of honor becomes a private station. On terrorists, kidnappers, and Boko Haram, romantically called bandits, still wreaking havoc in this society. Coupled with electricity hike, disco, Genco, NERC, frolicking, and rollicking. Let this federal government give Nigerians good governance, not funerals, as nurturing a champagne appetite on a beer. Okay, thank you very much, Barrister
A
Ugo.
whole lot.
As you would
chopped
have known
right
that
there.
he's a legal person
Mhm.
because the way he. Okay, thank you very much.
Well,
Okay.
we have this message coming from L. Kennedy Victor. It says, Good morning, WFM. Sometimes I talk about the unfaithfulness of the government, and when I do, it sounds like I don't believe their policies. Yes, I don't. I have been saying this in the last 10 years. The more we make changes in government, the more we enter into the worst of government. No, nothing will ever change. The student loan is a white elephant project. There is no such thing. It's only on paper. Common sense tells you that these guys are tricksters. I don't believe them. The people said that they are targeting. The people they said they are targeting can never access these loans and cannot pay for it in 2 years, even though they may access it. This makes me wonder.
All right, checking out this one from Rosenji Alawale Motiu from Alakpara. He says, Good morning, dear presenter. It is unfortunate that the police legal unit's inactions are keeping alleged suspect in custodial center without trial. We need a biting judicial system that will make them answerable for this great disservice as they are blocking these people's development and growth in life. When leaders are chosen based on the money they can offer during selection process, they in turn put incapacitated people in position just to pay back what was spent. Bad followers will never produce good leaders. Nigeria will survive. And that one is credited to Rusenje Olawale Motiu.
And this is coming from Destiny from Ikorodu. Says, Good morning, WFM family and everyone in the studio. Would have loved to comment on the student loan criteria to access the loan, but I just want to keep my reservations. Speaking on the panel by Kano State Governor to probe past administrations is commendable, if only it's coming from a sincere mind, because we all know, like our analyst said, this won't be coming up if they were of the same party. And that's what has kept us where we are as a nation. We should and must stop calling our leaders to account. I think we should and we must start calling our leaders to account. We must always come out to condemn and applaud appointments after integrity checks. God bless Nigeria.
All right, we have this one here. This one says, Happy day, blessing. Okay, Miracle Adito. Third mainland bridge success story is as a result of engaging appointment based on merit and relevance, not on political irrelevance, unprofessional appointment. Destroying the illegal refineries should stop, engage their ingenuity, modernize the support major wants to phase out importation of fuel where the country has been milked to the bones. After all, the security agencies are part of the legality. With time, we will get there by His grace, as we are the sixth happiest people in the whole world, in spite of our unending wars. Nigeria is God's project. The enemies will leak dust. Enjoy your weekend anywhere you find yourselves. All right, thank you very much, Evangelist Shego Yedeji, for your thoughts on the show. And then he went for that to say, blessing, nobody is fighting corruption anywhere in Nigeria because those to fight the monster are the corporates, politicians, judiciary leaders, security agencies, including the watchdog EFCC. Corruption is status symbol in our part of the world. Evangelist Shego Oyedeji, thank you very much for your thoughts once again on the show today.
All right, we have this one from Damien. The government of today should know that there is what is known as white elephant projects and masses-oriented projects. The most worrisome issues on ground are high rate of unemployment and high cost of living. Checkmating these two alone would curtail all other problems for economic growth. And then this one from Matthew from Oyero from Ijoko. Oyero Ijoko says, good morning, WFM team. Before we begin to give approval to this student loan scheme, let's not forget that this is not new in Nigeria. During Babangida's regime, there existed student loan scheme. You may want to ask, what was the result? The government of APC is using this to fray the anger of the youths. In other climes like America, what is the success rate? I remember that there was a move to write off debts because of defaults arising in difficulty in payment. If this can happen to Americans, what fate awaits for Nigerian borrowers where jobs are guaranteed? How can they pay when there is no job? Again, if you analyze the conditions to obtain the loan, there is no room for poor people. This is not the way to go. The government should look beyond loans to make education accessible to all. Good morning.
All right. Thank you very much for your messages, your calls. We really do appreciate you. Adito, Nigerians have been described as the sixth happiest people in the world. I mean, in spite of our challenges, in spite of what we're going through as a nation. All right. I will be allowing you to go today as we wrap up on the show. What would be your parting shots?
Well, I think I'll take the President Tinubu back memory lane to remind him of the reason why he needs to leave a good legacy behind, which could be termed as a visionary and laudable scheme for the ordinary Nigerian citizen. And that is more of saying, if you want to do it right, do it right. Just like our late founder, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, when he implemented the free education for all, especially in the Western region. We can still talk about that today. We heard it from history, and we are still talking about it. That was a remarkable legacy that was left behind by the late Obafemi Awolowo. So, if they want to do this, access affordable education to any Nigerian child, I think they need to do it right. Go back to the drawing board.
Thank you very much, Adetone, for your thoughts on the show today. Do well to enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it from Adetone Adebogun. Whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. All right, this is where we get to call it a wrap on the newspaper review for today. The newspaper review will be back on Monday at 7:30. In the meantime, we have the news at 9, we have Panorama at 9:05, and of course, we have Radio Doctor at 10. Please keep it locked on to Women Radio, WFM 91.7. My name is Blessing Agbeta.
And I am Miracle Philip.
Good morning.
Have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community? Send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537.
Hey children, we have something to tell you. Come closer. So Children's Day is coming soon in May. And guess what? Women Radio is set to host you at an amazing and fun-filled party in Arepo, Ogun State, with lots of games, music, and prizes to be won. And you get to play with other children and make new friends like you. Amazing, yeah? I know. What are you waiting for? Tell your mummies and daddies that May 27 is all for you. Yes, all for you in Arepo. Vendors are not left out. Come showcase your business at this fun-filled party. For more inquiries, call Marvelous on 090-555-58668 or Shaggle on 080-600-92137. Let's celebrate Children's Day together.
Jíjẹ́ ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Women Radio á fún ẹ ní àǹfààní láti darapọ̀ mọ́ àwọn obìnrin bíi tiẹ̀, yálà akẹ́kọ̀ọ́, oníṣòwò, oníṣẹ́ àdáni, òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì, ìyàwó ilé tàbí àgbẹ̀ ní gbogbo ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ 36 ní Nàìjíríà. Tó o bá ti jẹ́ ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Women Radio, a ó bẹ̀ polówó okòwò rẹ lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́, ó sì ní àǹfààní láti jẹ ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú lórí àwọn ètò wa. Forúkọsílẹ̀ ní wfm917.com, darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí Facebook, kó o sì download mobile app wa níbikíbi tó o bá wà. Jíjẹ́ ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Women Radio jẹ́ ètò láti iléeṣẹ́ WFM 91.7 pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn MacArthur Foundation àti Nigeria Media Innovation Program.
Hello, come and be a landowner this 2024. Yes, so become a landowner in Oyin Estate, Shimawa off Redemption Camp along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Oyin Estate has well-drained land free from floods, good road network, and other smart home features. Oyin Estate is from the stable of Flourish Haven Homes and Properties Limited. Call us today on 0802 962 2952 or 0816 308 8884, and let's turn your dreams into an address.
Living a life that depicts the teachings of Islam is the dream of every Muslim. Everyday Muslim, Saturdays 11 a.m. on Women Radio 91.7 is in collaboration with Muslim Public Affairs Center and Everyday Muslim will address the misconceptions on Islam, foster a peaceful coexistence, and guide the everyday Muslim on the journey in Islam. Everyday Muslim, Saturdays 11 a.m. on Women Radio 91.7. Simplified understanding of the deen.
I feel that there's some sort of lack of professionalism in this because we're talking about 100 lives.
Government has to also put in place a structure to make it look like what they have in mind.
How do we stop crime in the society? Because at the end of the day, if a man cannot provide for his wife anymore, he looks for other means. We should